And now, Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding present the CBS Radio Network. Who are we indebted to for those delicious pistachios?
Howie Sumatra, I think, brought those in about a week ago. We're just working on the second can here today. Howie, they're very
Thank
pleasing.
you very much.
How's your singing coming?
Not bad. I still go every night, and...
What do you mean? You make the round of the clubs to catch singers?
No, I go over to the professor who's teaching me how to sing.
Could you give us a sample free of how a teacher
Well, I
teaches
just
singing?
give you some vocal exercises. Nee, 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 nee.
What's that, for the nasal?
That's to see if I have any adenoids.
Mm-hmm. And then how about the wall?
Well, that one, too, is...
Very good. When do you think your first record will be on the market, Howie, so we can start to build it up?
Well, I think only time will tell, and if I'm lucky, then it should be out in time for Christmas.
Well, that doesn't give you much time. Do you know that we are concluding our 60th consecutive broadcasting day here at CBS?
You're a 60th?
This is our
Consecutive?
61st, I think.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
And you lasted longer than a lot of the fellows thought downstairs.
3 months ago today we began.
Yeah. Well, good luck and congratulations. And my mother wants to know if you want any more of those pistachios, just to say, and they're $1.75 a can.
All right. If we want any more, we'll come to you. Well, speaking of songs, we'd like to remind you that we are conducting a search for a college song that Natalie Attired will say later this week. I think we already had this week's winner, or last week's. Someone who writes a letter from a college telling us why their song should be said may be the winner of Natalie's rendition.
Well, not only a college, Bob, but a high school, too.
Yeah.
So just write us a letter, and Natalie Attired herself does the judging, so don't blame Bob and Ray. And if she decides that your letter is the winner, then it will be the words of your school song that will be said here on the full facilities of this, the CBS Broadcasting's, the CBS
Columbia
Company.
Broadcasting System.
Right, CBS.
And where do we send our letters, please?
To Bob and Ray, CBS, New York.
Is that door slowly opening over there?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh, Kirby is. Oh, did you hear what happened to him last week?
I heard about it, but I don't think these people have.
Wanted in on suspense. The whole thing into a cocked hat.
Didn't fit. Sometimes that would fit into the plot, but...
Kirby, is that a lot of hoisin you're wearing there today?
No, not very much.
A little bit of hoisin. Well, so
we ought to
long.
go out and check on the trophy train, don't you, as we start this new week?
Right.
Arthur Schrank, our Bob and Ray announcer in charge of announcing the trophy train, is today in Yakima, Washington, where the facilities of station KIMA have been thrown open to him, and William B. Bill Hansen is there to make the official welcome. So come in, please, Arthur Schrank.
Hello, everybody. This is Arthur Schrank standing on the rear platform of the Bob and Ray Trophy train. Standing beside me is Bill Hansen of station KIMA, who has just come through the trophy train himself. I wonder, Bill, may I call you that, sir?
Yes, of course, Arthur.
I wonder if you could give us your impressions of the Bob and Ray train, and could you describe some of the trophies that attracted your eye?
Well, I imagine, Mr. Schrank, or Arthur, if I may call you that a great many of the trophies that the people here in Yakima have really gone for, have really liked in a big way, are trophies which folks in other places you visited liked as well. As I heard mentioned the other day, I think in San Diego.
Give me just a second, Bill. You can probably hear the gentle tinkle of change as it falls on a saucer. That has been placed here on the rear platform. People going by who so design are permitted to donate to Bob and Ray's old age by putting money into this saucer.
I think Ray's first pair of roller skates seems to be the hit of the trophy train here. They're somewhat worn, and they show the evidence of years. However, they are in good shape.
Mr. Hanson, I don't want to interrupt, but I've heard a lot of people say that they enjoyed looking at some of Bob's curls that were taken from his head at his first haircut many years ago.
He was quite a bit blonder in those days than he is now.
I'm afraid, though, that we're running out of time. Suffice to say that all of these folks here at KIMA and all their wonderful clients have
Come on,
enjoyed
friends
the
of
tour.
KIMA, off the trophy train now.
And
They're about to leave.
There it goes. The engineer's
Is
giving
your
the
midget
signal.
going to sing as you leave the stage?
Yes, the Bob Ray small assistant is singing the famous goodbye song now.
Well, I'll step down then and good luck
Bye,
to you.
everybody.
Goodbye, goodbye. I wish you all a last goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. I wish you all a last goodbye.
Back here, we have it. And I can just picture the trophy train going around the bend outside the Yakima Railroad Station.
Yes, sir. And friends, right here, we'd like to tell you that we've done it again.
What's that? We've done it again.
Yes,
huh?
we have.
The wooden beams of our overstocked warehouse are creaking in protest as they're pushed outward by the enormous influx of what we have to offer.
What we have to offer is so microscopically low priced that even those who are hopelessly broke can afford it.
At great expense.
We practically pauperized ourselves.
At great expense.
Tell them about the trepidation, too, Ray.
All right, Bob, we approached the former owners of this item with great trepidation. And at great expense, we managed to purchase from the Cutler Novelty Company
26,000 squirting carnations.
lifelike rubber petals,
Blush pink in hue.
3 feet of 1/16 rubber tubing.
And a rubber bulb with an intake valve capable of holding 1/3 of a pint of water.
Now, ordinarily, these squirting carnations would bring fantastically high over-the-counter prices.
However, the novelty engineer at Cutler's made a once-in-a-lifetime error.
The nozzles through which the water squirts all face the wrong way.
Now, you're all probably saying to yourselves, what can this bring me except a wet lapel?
But with a little enterprise, you can get the other fellow to wear one.
That's right. You can settle accounts with that office pest. Give one to that newsstand dealer who hides the hard-to-get newspapers when he sees you coming.
And the carnation has other uses, functional ones.
Fill the bulb with insect repellent and keep flies and other bugs off your lapel.
Or you ladies can place the squirting carnation in a vase with your other flowers. Slight pressure on the bulb will flood the vase with energy-giving water in no time.
And for that little boy who loves to eat, if the carnation is removed from the 1/16 rubber tubing, your lad can drain the gravy from his plate by inserting the tube in it and exerting a mild pressure on the bulb.
And he'll have 1/3 of a pint of gravy, which he can take along to school to fight off those hunger pangs.
And the same process, of course, can be used to siphon gas.
And here's a feature we haven't yet discussed. If you buy 1 dozen squirting carnations and remove the rubber tubing and bulbs from them all,
You'll have a short, spongy bouquet to give your loved one.
all this at a price so phenomenally low that our own bank has just classified us as enormously poor business risk.
Friends, get your squirting carnation today.
For full particulars, just address a postcard to Fool CBS Radio, 485 Madison Avenue, New York City.
And it'll reach us. Okay.
You know it. Hey, just for a moment here, Bob, should we make mention of one of these things or not?
Okay, I think it would be a good idea. We'd like you to meet an old friend of ours, the celebrated ace of the auto racing oval, Dust McCluskey. Welcome back to the Bob and Ray Show, Dust.
Well, thanks, Bob. I just have a second to visit with you. I wanted to remind the folks about something I'm sure they know already.
Well, feel free, Dust. The air's yours.
Well, folks, when you're out there on the highway, take it easy. Don't let that right foot of yours get too heavy, or you may hustle yourself into big trouble in a hurry.
Dust, I expect you keep your speed down to a legal level when you're on the highway, don't you?
Well, I wouldn't dream of driving on the highway. The way some of those spooks handle their cars gives me the whim-wham. Besides, my license expired.
Well, thanks for popping in on us with those words of driving safe.
Well, my pleasure, Bob. I think all of us sports greats should do something from time to time of a public service nature. So long for now.
You were well received. Goodbye to you, Dust McCluskey, fastest man on wheels. Artie Skirmahorn, our roving correspondent, is at the Flyaway School for Airline Hostesses in Queens Village, Long Island, and perhaps he has something of interest to tell us. Artie, are you listening?
Hello, Bob. The Flyaway School of Airline Hostesses is run by a Mr. Sherwood Bloomquist,
And it's really a unique operation. Right now, I see Mr. Bloomquist drilling one of the would-be hostesses in the mic technique.
Can you hear what she is saying, Artie?
Well, I just waved to Mr. Bloomquist, and he's coming over with the young lady now. Well, hi, Mr. Bloomquist.
Hi, Mr. Skirmahorn. Say, I'd like you to meet one of our students here at Flyaway, Miss Wanda Rossiter. I was just giving her a lesson in mic technique.
Well, we'd certainly like to hear how that's done, Mr. Bloomquist.
All right, now, Miss Rossiter, we'll be doing this from memory, and it's very much the kind of thing she'll have to say under real flying conditions.
We're all ears, Mr. Bloomquist.
All right, go ahead, Wanda.
Good evening, and welcome aboard Flight 201. I'm Captain Tom Bakewell, and your pilot on this flight is Wanda Rossiter. Our estimated time of arrival in Los Francisco is 12:32. We'll be high above the weather throughout most of the trip at 200 feet, so settle back and enjoy your flight.
Thank you, Miss Rossiter. That was very good.
Well, do you grade the students on their various duties, sir?
Yes, Artie, we do. Miss Rossiter got a 26 in mic technique, but she's very strong on pillow reach, so that tends to bring up her grades overall.
Do I see one of your students talking to herself over there in the corner?
Oh, indeed, no. Just a clever device I dreamed up myself. Let's go over and take a look at it.
All right, Mr. Blomquist.
It's a recording featuring questions frequently asked of airline stewardesses while the plane is in flight. Here we are.
Well, it's Miss Rossiter again.
Yes, and in a second you'll hear some of the questions and Miss Rossiter's answers. Go ahead, Miss Rossiter.
I'll turn it on.
Say, stewardess, what was that thumping noise I heard on takeoff?
And nothing to worry about, sir. Perhaps the wheels fell off.
Stewardess, do we get a free meal on this flight?
I hope so. I'm starved myself. And if there is a free meal on this flight, I'll go eat and try to sneak some to you later, sir.
Say, stewardess, this pillow smells of something.
Well, I don't know. It's not my worry.
Yeah, I think you've heard enough now, haven't you, Artie? That's enough, Miss Rossiter. Did very well, thank you.
Mr. Bloomquist, what time does the class in hysteria control begin?
It started about 3/4 of an hour ago, Miss Rossiter. I'm afraid you've just about missed the class in hysteria control.
No, I couldn't have missed it. I can't afford to miss anything so important as that.
Well, that slap in the face certainly did the job.
Did you slap her face to bring her out of the hysterics she was having, Mr. Bloomquist?
No, I slapped her because she isn't a very good student.
Well,
but she's the only one we have here.
Thank you, Mr. Bloomquist, for showing us what an airline hostess school is like.
Yes.
Beside Skirmahorn, returning you to Bob and Ray, wherever they are.
We're back here in our cool studio, and I don't know if we have time to talk with anybody. I don't think we do in the audience, do we?
Nope. Goodbye. It's almost time for that wonderful Wallace song. Too bad we can't hear that again. I love that.
Well, he's all the way in Washington. We can't hear it today.
No, that's right. And so that's the next time. Where are they going from Yakima? Or do we know
I don't
yet?
think he said, no.
No, I don't believe he has.
He's out in the great Northwest, though, anyway.
Well, did you all enjoy the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
Did you enjoy the turkey that we had, the cream turkey that we served to you while you were waiting?
Well, it was all right then, but, time has taken hold.
Yes. Well...
And, do you mind if I sit here for about an hour?
No, I don't think there's anything else coming out of this studio after we leave this evening. However, there may be. You never can tell.
But stay tuned. We'll have a Russian phrase for you in just 10 seconds.
Now, here's tomorrow's Russian phrase.
Сделайте мне пробор на правую сторону.
Meaning, part my hair on the right side.
Until tomorrow, this is Ray Goulding reminding you to write if you get work.
Bob Elliott reminding you to hang by your thumbs.
This is the CBS Radio Network. Bob, you brought in a machine here on the desk.
I have it set right here in the desk. This is the Walner Slender Voice, and actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to do a friend of mine a favor.
That's okay.
Weaver Walner. Do you remember him?
Vaguely.
I went to school with him, and then I met him in the Army.
Yeah.
And we've kept in touch through the years, and he now is president of the Walner Slender Voice Company, and he asked us if we could kind of acquaint the public with the machine. I thought I'd bring it in tonight. Could I have somebody in the audience to help me with this? Maybe somebody to try it out.
All right,
Sure.
Would you come up here? And you must be here at a convention. I see you wearing a badge there, and on the badge is your name. You are Tom Reiber. Is that right?
No, that's Reimer.
Oh.
Miss Eckmeyer had to type up the badges in a hurry back in Indianapolis, and she finds it a bit difficult to work under pressure.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, now, how'd you like to hear your own voice?
Well, haven't I been hearing my own voice all these years?
Well, I mean on a machine. This one here, the slender voice. You see, this is a wire recorder, and it's put out by a friend of mine, and he wanted, to get a little promotion for it and have people try it out. Would you like to hear the way you sound?
Well, I guess it's all right. Grace isn't with me, and after all, I'm here to have some fun. What do I have to do anyway?
Well, Mr. Reimer, I'm going to let you do it all yourself.
All right.
Now, the Walner slender voice is turned on. All you have to do, is take this little gadget and hold it in front of your mouth, press a button, and speak in.
Okay, well, what'll I say, though?
Well, I guess anything comes to mind would be all right in a demonstration of this sort. All you do is say it loud and clear right into the gadget there.
All right.
Or you just press the button when you're talking.
Okay. Hello, my name is Tom Reimer. R-I-M-E-R, Reimer. I'm in this city on business. Miss Eckmeyer doesn't work too well under pressure. I think I saw little Thomas walking down one of the corridors. How's that?
That's fine. Now, you can stop pressing the button now, Mr. Reimer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, well, just let go of it there. Lift your finger.
Forgive me. It's just a case of convention nerves.
All right. Now, would you like to hear yourself on the Walner Slender voice?
Oh, would I ever?
All right. Now, you just press that other little button there, and we'll hear it.
All right. Hello, my name is Tom Reimer. R-I-B-E-R, Reiber. I'm in this city on business. Miss Eckmeyer doesn't work well under pressure. And I believe that I saw Frank Thomas walking down one of the corridors. How's that for a speech?
Now, isn't that an amazingly accurate machine, Mr. Reiber?
Well, fine.
What do you think of that now?
Well, it's a fine technical product, lots of know-how behind that machine.
Well, Mr. Walner certainly thinks that he's got a real good thing on his hands.
See, that sounded a little different than what I thought I said.
Well,
say, could I have
has a
that
personality.
piece of wire that you recorded?
That you had your voice on? Sure, let me wind it back here, and then I'll give it to you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. It's all over the floor. There is one thing a bug they haven't worked out of this yet, that when that does unwind like that, you can't do anything about it. But thanks for helping us.
You can roll it up if you want for the rest of the show, then take it on home.
Put it on a little spool there if you have one with you.
Yeah, sure.
And thanks for taking part in the demonstration. I think you did a great deal of good for our friend, Mr. Reiber. What was his name?
Walner was your friend's name, Bob.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he was tuned in.
And once again, it's time for Broken Down Old Grand Motel. A speck of a place, a heck of a place. Owned and operated by Leonard Humphrey and his daughter, Naomi. Today we find them on Route 66, busily working on an idea to increase business at Grand Motel.
Well, Naomi, one more nail and the sign will be in place. There. How's she look?
Fine, Dad. I'm glad you asked me to paint the sign. It gives me a sense of participation.
Yeah, let me stand back and look at her. Grand Motel, excellent lodgings, free continental breakfast served at all times, 400 yards ahead.
How do you like the picture of Grand Motel I drew on it, Dad?
Well, it don't look nothing like Grand Motel, Naomi, and I'm grateful for that. Now, we better be getting back, because if this sign works the way I think it'll work, we'll be snowed under. Let's go.
Gosh, Dad, it's been 6 hours since we put up the sign. Nary a bite so far. Cars are whizzing by like 60. Are you sure you measured the distance right? Are you sure it's 400 yards from here to the sign, Dad?
I pasted off myself, Naomi.
Well, maybe the sign fell down. I think we better go see.
Yeah, you're right. If it's worth putting up, it's worth looking after. Let's go.
Well, let's get out and take a look, Dad.
Naomi, look at that. Look what some skunk went and done. Added a comma and 2 zeros to the 400 yards. Reads 40,000 yards now. No wonder we wasn't getting no customers.
Dad, I'm sorry.
No, it ain't your fault, Naomi.
What are we going to do, Dad?
Well, I'm going to wet my handkerchief down in the creek there, and we'll wash off them extra zeros.
Is it wet yet, Dad?
Well, if it ain't, there's something wrong with the water back in the creek there.
Here, let me wash the sign. That's a woman's job.
Well, suit yourself, Naomi.
Give me the wet hanky, Dad.
What's that? What's happening to the sign? There's colors running all over the place.
Oh, gosh, Dad, it's my fault. I don't work with anything but watercolors. I'd have given anything if this didn't happen.
Yeah, me too, Naomi.
I'll do it over again. This time I'll do it in India ink.
Naomi, I've been thinking. Ain't nothing but grit and grime out here. How'd you like to go to a fancy Eastern school?
But, Dad, I'd never leave you and Grand Motel.
Come right down to it. A man can't count on nothing no more.
And so Leonard Humphrey's troubles mount out on Highway 66 as the old man is thwarted once again in his effort to make a paying venture out of Grand Motel. Thank you, sir. Well, I mean, really, not talking to the wall when I say that.
Talking to that turntable over there.
Sure. Yes, of course.
Sir, would you tell us your name, please?
Merle N. Garland.
Merle, would you tell our audience why you are so skinny?
Well, I'm skinny because I lost my food dining club credit card, and I'm not eating too well because of the mishap. That's why.
Well, sir, I don't mean to become maudlin. I don't want to offend you, but if you haven't been eating regularly, perhaps we here...
Well, thank you kindly, Mr. Elliott, for the offer you were about to make, but I've got plenty of cash money. It's just that the restaurants here won't accept cash. Yes. Only credit cards. Yeah. Money's too much of a bother, I was told.
I know. Well, how did you lose your food dining club credit card, Mr. Garland?
Well, actually, I was held up, and my wallet was taken from me.
That's too bad.
Well, I was hoping the crook would overlook the credit cards in the wallet and just take the $14,000 I had in it, but no luck. He took the cards and left me the money.
Well, Mr. Garland, when you say cards, did you have more than one credit card?
I had dozens, Mr. Elliott. The only one I've got left now is my air transport credit club card. I took the precaution of painting it so it would look like a $100 bill, and the crook overlooked it.
Well, we're certainly sorry about all this, and can I ask you how you're managing to stay alive without a food credit card?
Well, I used my air transport credit club card. I had to fly to Copenhagen last week so I could get served a meal on the plane.
What were you served, Mr. Garland?
Beef and noodles.
Mm-hmm.
But that was last month, and I'm hungry again, so
sure.
I made a reservation on a plane for tonight. It's going to Australia, so I'll be served 2 meals.
Yeah.
Australia's pretty far.
Oh, I'm certain it is, but if you can't hold out until then, I know of a local airline that flies from Larchmont to Scarsdale. It's a 2-minute trip, and you get served an orange section en route.
No, I think I'll wait for the whole meal, Mr.
Well, suit yourself. Now, do you want to describe your food dining club credit card to our listeners in the event it turns up somewhere?
Yeah. Well, it's 2.5 by 3. It's blue and yellow, and there's a picture of 2 halves of a hamburger bun, slightly separated. Space there is where my name goes, Merle N. Garland, between the hamburger buns. And the card is torn around the edges.
Guess it was an old card, huh?
No. You see, after I'd finish a meal at a restaurant, I'd rip off a piece of the card and give it to the waiter as a tip. You know how it is with waiters.
Yes, I do. I've been embarrassed a number of times when all I had to leave the waiter for a tip was money myself.
Well, I hope I get my card
Hope
back.
so, too, Mr. Garland. Meanwhile, air travel is a great broadener, and you'll learn a great deal. While all this may seem a nasty experience to you at the moment, you should be quite smart when you get squared away. And thanks for being with us, Skinny.
Now then, Wally Ballou is standing by at Oyster Bay, Long Island, and he's covering the new oyster season. 1st of September, of course, oysters are back in season. Wally Ballou is standing by with a live microphone now, so come in, please, from Oyster Bay.
I have microphone now. This is Radio's Wally Ballou.
Standing in our bathysphere as we're being lowered to the floor of Oyster Bay. I say we because with me, in addition to the various technicians involved, is the noted fish expert, the piscatologist, Dr. Pierre Duvalier. And, Dr. Duvalier, it's a real pleasure and an honor to be allowed to go down on this bathysphere on this trip.
Well, I'm very pleased. Very pleased you
I
could
was
come
listening to
by.
you talk before we went on the air, and I kind of picked up some of your idiom there.
Well, what we do now on it there was we was go down on top of the bottom of the floor of the ocean here on the Sound.
I see.
We can take a look at the oysters and see what's make the starfish eat on them there. I mean, the starfish was come by and they was eat up the oysters.
Well, I understand this is a big problem with the oyster growers. Is that right?
Well,
The fact that starfish come along.
the starfish on it there was come by and they was develop a long case there for the oysters. Well, oysters are a delicacy and there's much money invest by the people who invest in the oysters. They do not want these starfish what was come by and to eat up all the oysters.
Yes, we know all that. Now, you got your original training in Canada someplace, is that right?
That's right on it there. I was clean up the whole situation up on top of the Newfoundland on it there, and then I was come down on a long boat there.
They have the same problem up there that you faced here in Oyster Bay?
There was have it till I come by. I was I used to specialize on the smells there.
Smelt?
That's right on it. And from that I was move up to the starfish there. They what I do now, I go to the oyster beds and is this leaking a little?
Yes, it seems to be 3 inches of yes, something the sea valves have opened, I believe. And water is now pouring into our...
Holy mackerel,
pouring into our bathysphere. Here, Charlie, on top there, on the surface, Charlie, it's time for us to be pulled up.
This is Charlie on the surface.
Hello, Charlie.
Are you having any difficulty?
No, only that the bathysphere...
Well, look, I'll be across the street in the bar and grill.
No,
and,
Charlie, you don't...
I'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Well, Charlie, you don't understand.
It's leaving down there, okay.
Just
See you.
hear me out, Charlie.
I think on it there, we better cut through here and try to float to the top on it there. We're going to drown like the starfish.
I think it would be a very good idea.
I'm not kidding now. This is too serious on it there.
Water is now up to my neck, ladies and gentlemen, as we remove ourselves from the bathysphere and head for the surface above.
If we get any late news on that, we'll be sure to
We better
fill
get
you
some
in.
late news on that. We ought to check back on them, I think. Find out. I think right now would be sports time.
Right, and do we have a theme for that? And now the weekly fights are on the air.
Hi, this is Biff Burns coming to you from spacious Bender Auditorium, and I'm here to bring you the main event between lightweight, heavyweights Stoker Williams and Boom Boom Bates. We're all set here as soon as the ring announcer, Johnny Daly, winds up.
And another
For
good-looking
the
boy
past hour, he's been
from
introduced.
the Golden Gate of California, Little Monty. Little Monty.
Two fighters have been seated on their stools for some time, and they seem eager.
Another high-ranking prospect in the heavyweight ranks. A boy from different shores than ours. Always a dangerous puncher, Frenchie Duval. Frenchie Duval, ladies and gentlemen.
And there's Frenchie walking to the corner to wish
Always a good-looking boy to keep an eye on. A cover in the flyweight division. Boy who recently decisioned Rocky DeLuny. Skinny Duffy, ladies and gentlemen. Skinny Duffy.
Williams is the heavy favorite
Here's
going
the
into
chap,
this fight.
good-looking boy, winner of the Decker Sporting Belt for the month of April, Joe Carpy. Joe Carpy, ladies and gentlemen.
It's interesting to point out that
And the
Williams will be
figure
punching
frequently
down
seen
at his
at
shorter
the weekly
opponent.
fights, a man who has done a lot of boxing. You've all seen him on the silver screen, Dale Rosemont. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale Rosemont.
Well, it looks as though the ring announcer has taken care of all the up-and-comers and show business personalities around, so in a few seconds we can all look forward to...
You'll be seeing a lot of in the next few weeks. Our very endearing ticket taker, Edwin Jackson. Edwin Jackson.
If Boom Boom Bates is to last the fight, he'll have to use every bit of his ring know-how.
New Orleans, here to see the fight, popular local figure in New Orleans, Ralphie Fig. Ralphie Fig, ladies and gentlemen, Ralphie Fig.
And that should about wind up the introduction.
And from our frigid neighbor up north, the province of Quebec, up-and-coming real estate broker, Louis Dussault. Louis Dussault, ladies and gentlemen.
It's interesting to point out Williams likes to stand off and shoot those long rights.
Many years standing, a face familiar to us all from far-flung Seattle, Ernest Kent. Ernest Kent, ladies and gentlemen.
Time is running short now.
A boy with plenty of nerve, a boy that just asked me to introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvin Finn. Marvin Finn, ladies and gentlemen.
Sports fans, as I was saying, Williams likes the long crouch
one at a time, the members of the Trask High School Drum and Bugle Corps. Starting with the first young chap.
And this is Biff Burns bidding you goodbye from spacious Bender Auditorium.
We were, oh yeah, I've got to go to the store first. We were sitting around the Bob and Ray office the other day, kind of lamenting the fact that there's very little conversation on radio.
And we were not only lamenting it, but CBS Radio was too. And they came to us and they said, Bob and Ray, holy cow, what's happened to conversation on radio? Could you bring it back in one of your programs?
Gee whiz, they said, to continue, if anybody could do something about talking on the radio or conversation, we think you and your staff could come up with it. They said, it would be easy for you.
My goodness, the fellow continued. He said that all the radio stations seem to be playing the top 40 records all day long, and there's just no good conversation available to radio listeners. So here we are to present...
Wait just a minute. Shucks, he expostulated.
Right.
We're going to leave it up to you to present a conversation program.
All right, well, then let's present Bob and Ray's conversation program.
We have asked Webley Webster to moderate a discussion which will include Mary Magoon, whom you're familiar with, I think, Tex Blaisdell, and Ray and myself will try to enter into the discussion wherever we feel it's applicable.
They have now chemicals, I think, that you can put down right on your lawn to kill any broadleaf weed, such as crabgrass or plantain or creeping willy or whatever.
Well, do you have anything?
I remember one time when I get this haircut, what happened to me was this. I went into this barber shop.
Just a minute, Webb. I think we were off on one line of talk there with Mary in relation to chemicals for improving the lawn, for ridding it of crabgrass. Maybe we should stick to that one subject rather than get off onto your haircut.
Do you want me to talk about it? His haircut?
Well, if you want to swing the conversation
around... Well, before I do that, I want to just go on record and
say... Can you tie his haircut in with crabgrass?
Maybe, a little bit. Let me try it. I would like, first of all, to go on record saying that I do think that the baseball they use in the major leagues now it's a rabbit ball. It does go further when you hit it. I really think so. Than they did back in the old days.
That was very...
This is the wandering musician that CBS Radio has. He wanders through the offices and into the studios to keep morale up, keep people happy during the hot summer months.
Are they just trying this out for the summer, or is it going to be a regular thing, do you think?
I don't know. I understand he wanted in on a newscast the other night, so I don't think it would be too regular. Nice song, buddy.
Getting back to conversational topics here, if we may digress a minute.
Yes.
I think the age of the old-time cowboy has disappeared. In other words, you see them handling these roundups from motorized vehicles, and you see wagons.
You see, what I think...
Excuse me.
Well, look, when you have a 3-lane highway, everybody coming in either direction thinks that middle lane belongs to them for passing. I just wanted to say that.
Anything to add to that, Mary?
Well, only this.
I got hot coffee, tea.
You folks
And
want hot
I
coffee
see I have
tea?
the pineapple
bow tie?
Danish, prune Danish.
Do you have a bow tie?
Bow tie.
Bow tie.
I've got French donut. I got a
I'll
jelly
have a
donut,
French donut.
bacon
Yeah.
butter biscuit,
Okay.
cheese sandwich, and beer.
Oh.
Why don't you folks who are
Well,
conversing
so long.
here go over in the corner and finish your conversing? Don't you think, Ray?
Yeah, Bob. It's too bad.
A note?
Bob, we had a note sent over from the program department here at CBS.
Yes.
They want us to play the number 40. 40 this week.
I think that's a
Up
great
3
idea.
buttons from 37.
Swell. So let's all give a listen. Great record. One we'll be hearing a lot from. And hi, gossip fans. This is Ed Winch. With an able assist from my gal secretary, Lizzie Outland, we'll be talking about the goings-on in Big Town, USA, here on Up in the Morning with Winch. Liz, what's new?
Ed, I hear the Indian playboy Ramat Singh is back in town, scattering money around like water.
Yes, he's a real Maharaj jerk. He should read what Mr. B. Franklin had to say about exceeding one's income, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Are the rumors true about Happy Delmonico, the famous comedian, causing dissension backstage?
Yes, this TV tee-hee has his video associates worried about his late arrivals at the studio and his constant refusals to leave the backstage area in order to MC his own show while it's in progress, from great to ingrate.
Ed, I hear the Marvin Strobles are expecting their 10th child soon. Is that true?
Yes, they certainly keep the sparks flying. Mrs. Strobel is former Corin knockout, the beautiful Joan Storm.
And, Ed, is it true that you've been barred from another night spot?
Yes, and I won't even mention the club owner's name. Let's just say he's Bistrodius, and forget the item.
Ed, there's a man out west who does the same sort of thing you do on radio. Have you heard about him?
Yes, and I have a message for him, Liz. Mr. Microphony, while you're taking Bravo Ks for your broadcast, remember this. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And now last week, I came down with the virus. Think you can do the same, Mr. Copy Fathead?
Is the Al Rockwell, Alma Libby romance off again, Ed?
Yes, they're doing their parties at separate tables.
And I hear the Don Cutlers are having their troubles, too.
That's right. Don is a pilot for South Central Airlines, and their marriage is up in the air. Mrs. C is former Thrush-a-Lovely Iris Beechwood.
Any inside information on Gangland, Ed?
I have a tip for the boys in blue, Liz. Racket sap Eddie Brockway is back on the streets again, a free man. None of us will rest until this mad dog, this mongrel maniac, is behind bars once more. Are you listening, Politico RJ?
Are there any new hit songs or hit shows along the Rialto, Ed?
Yes, a new Sacco musical called Meet Me in Pittsburgh. The first snipers couldn't stop clap-plauding. The show is a happy blending of corn and old jokes. I counted 34 stand eavesdroppers on opening night. Definitely a cash smash.
But didn't Meet Me in Pittsburgh close last night, Ed?
That's right. Even though the show was good, the cast had put on a demonstration that won't soon be forgotten in these parts.
And what is your colorful description of Wall Street, Ed?
The New York Stockyard, a place where millions of people change hands every day.
I think you mean dollars, not hands, Ed.
And today's wrap-up item, Ed Winch's gal secretary just became an unemployed dope. 30 for now.
I think we have time, Bob, to more or less whet the appetites of all those listening, so they'll be sure and join us come Monday.
Oh, with some previews for next week, you mean?
Just
Okay.
kind of just one sentence previews, kind of a really whet up the appetite, so to speak.
Okay, good. On Monday's show, you'll hear...
I'll have 60,000 of those.
On Tuesday, the Bob and Ray Show will feature a dramatic spectacle in which this is one of the best scenes we can think of.
Fork it over, buddy.
Not me.
On Wednesday, Dean Archer Armstead will say...
It's time for that now.
And those are... We'll hear that on Thursday, I think. That's just about all the time we have for previews.
That's right.
Time now for our Bob and Ray Good Neighbor Award for the month of August. And although the month isn't quite over, we've already discovered the one that we believe is most deserving.
Let's put it this way, Bob, that if anyone does a good deed in the remaining few days of August, they will have to be judged in September. That's all.
So that because we were so anxious to give this award to our lady guest who's seated here with me now and who is going to tell her own story of the achievement which earned her the Bob and Ray Merit Award as a good neighbor for the month of August. Would you sign in, please, ma'am?
Yes, Mrs. Mallory Sturkenhernmoth.
Mrs. Sturkenhernmoth, we heard about the good deed that you performed through the letter sent by one of your neighbors. I mean, I believe it was Mrs. Margaret Sturkenhernmoth.
Yes, that's my...
She's some relation?
She's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What was it that she wrote to us?
Well, she wrote to you about the nice deed I did for the next-door neighbor.
This is the neighbor on the other side.
Yes. The Coburns. Well, anyway, their house was on fire one evening, and they came over. Mr. Coburn came over, fit to be tied. And
I should imagine.
He came over to borrow our hose, and I couldn't find it. It was down cellar somewhere, and he didn't have time to rummage about. So I suggested that he take a bucket of water with him. I had a pail handy there.
I see. You provided him with a pail?
And an entire bucket full of water. And then I gave him a bottle of prune juice to throw on the flames. The only thing liquid I had around the house.
The fire?
Yes.
The fire, of course, was raging out of hand
right.
all this time next door.
Then I also gave him a glass of water to keep his false teeth in.
I don't imagine he was thinking too much about that at the time, do you?
Well,
it falls in line with being a good neighbor, just the same.
He thinks of all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the house had burned down, everyone Mr. Coburn lived there alone. He was fine, but the house burned down, and what little that he managed to save from the flame was sitting in front of the smoldering ruins.
Yes.
And I gave him a shelter half that my nephew Lyle left there.
An army shelter half, just half.
Right, and then I gave him a box of marshmallows to hold over the embers of the fire so he could have a bite to eat.
And wasn't there something about your inviting him into your house where he could find shelter until he was able to rebuild his house?
No. What I did for him was to move my TV set near the window so he could look in and watch it at night.
Well, Mrs. Sturkenhernmoth, we certainly want to thank you for coming here today and telling your story in your own words.
Well, it's a deed that I'd do again.
And you certainly have proved that you were a good neighbor for August to Mr. Coburn out there, and we want you to have this pop-up toaster, symbol of the Bob and Ray organization.
Well, if it's a symbol of the Bob and Ray organization, then that's one thing I'll remember.
And after the show, you can pick up your toaster in a choice of colors. They're there at the back of the studio.
Are they anything like the Columbia phonographs? I mean, the colors?
Well, the colors are similar, yes.
Yeah.
You can probably get one to match your Columbia phonograph.
All right.
Thank you, Mrs. Sturkenhernmoth.
That's kind of a hard word to remember. Or a name, I should say.
Right now, do we have time for Clyde Lamona? Speaking of old radio that's been on a long time, Clyde Lamona is one of the first of the great network radio announcers. And Clyde, it's always a pleasure to give a fellow a little boost up and a little help on the road back.
Well, thank you for the leg up, Bob. Certainly could use it. How about now?
You're losing your shoelace there.
Yeah.
Clyde, you haven't worked for quite some time.
Well, TV, more or less.
Your voice is just as full and beautiful and rich as ever, but your appearance...
That's right. Well, it's always been my downfall. I've always been,
Is that a gravy stain on the back of your jacket there?
Yeah, that's right.
How did you get it on the back?
How do you think I got it? I fell over backwards onto a table.
Oh. And your toupee is on backwards?
And,
that bow tie you're wearing, it's only hooked on one side.
It's my personal appearance, Bob, that's kept me off TV, more or less.
Gee, I'll never forget the old days when you'd come out on the stage to introduce a big radio show in that tuxedo that was kind of a trademark of yours. You're still wearing the tux pants there,
That's right, I am.
One of the little strips of satin down the side has come unstitched there.
I hadn't noticed that. I'll have to fix that when I get home.
Hanging there. What kind of a flower was that in your...
It was a rose. It's been there for a year and a half, so...
Looks like a
wrinkled up.
Dead Japanese beetle there in it.
It is, right.
Uh-huh. And your sleeve is on fire. Did you know that? Clyde Lamona, a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope that
Bob, if you hear of anything where they could use an announcer...
There's a paper stuck to your shoe there.
Well, that's some gum I picked up.
It's stuck...
There's a paper on there.
What's that say there?
Collier's Magazine. I guess that's been on my shoe a long time.
Quite some time. Good luck anyway, Clyde Lamona, and we'll be following your career with interest.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hear ye! Hear ye! The Bob and Ray unrehearsed courtroom of the air is now in session.
In a moment, you'll be hearing unrehearsed courtroom dramas involving live actors who will be doing away with the technical know-how of real-life judges, genuine lawyers, legitimate district attorneys, and the rest of those tedious law people with years and years of solid knowledge. And now, Superior Court 3, County of Henderson, Superior Court Judge Presser presiding.
So, my good man, I have no recourse but to sentence you to not more than one, or more than 20, no more than 20, and far less than one. No, that's not it. And so, my good chap, you're going to get a flat 15 years. Hey, silence. If I hear any more noise, I'll have another demonstration. I have a few words to say to the prisoner before I remand him to the custody of the country, city. Silence.
Arthur.
Speak up, Bailey.
It's bailiff, not Bailey. I got something to tell you.
Well, if the Bailey has a complaint, he can see me in my personal chamber later on. Now, I have a few words to say to the prisoner.
No, kid, not. You ought to listen to me, really.
Prisoner, 15 years is a long time, but you deserve it. Never in all my years on this seat have I heard of such outrageous conduct, such wanton disregard for personal property, your callous actions, your heinous, absolutely ruthless...
All right, you're sentencing the wrong guy. He's the district attorney. I tried to tell you. That's the DA you got there.
However, some new evidence has been introduced that might shed some new light on the case before me.
Oh, you'll never get out of this, Art.
Waldo Vincent, you stand before me a convicted man, a man about to be sent to the reformatory. And yet, it's my belief that the scales of justice are tipping your way.
No, it'll never work, Art.
A few minutes ago, you were about to go to prison, but looking at you, I wonder if jail is really the answer for you. Oh, I'm not condoning what you've done, mind you. Manslaughter can be serious sometimes.
You said it, Art.
So, keeping that in mind, you seem like a very decent chap. Now, Waldo, we've all done things we're ashamed of.
Like you're doing now, Art.
So, I'm going to put it to you this way, Waldo Vincent. While the court cannot completely forgive the prisoner for his crime, I'm going to do all that's in my power...
Careful now, Art.
...to ease the burden of your sentence. I believe the only way I can do that is to set you free, my good man.
No, see, I told you it wouldn't work. Now, how are you going to stop the courtroom spectators from demonstrating?
And everybody in the court is hereby sentenced to 10 days in jail for snideness, contempt. Take them away, Bailey.
Boy, I gotta hand it to you, Art.
This session of the Bob and Ray Unrehearsed Courtroom of the Air is now closed. You want to chatter a little bit about something?
Bob, I wish we had time, but we want to get to Johnny Braddock and his sportsaphone.
Oh, another one of those.
Yeah,
That's good.
let's go.
Hi, this is Johnny Braddock welcoming you to another edition of Sportsaphone. You all know the game. I'll start describing a famous sports figure, and as soon as you think you know who it is, call me, Johnny Braddock at Pickering 6. The first person with the correct answer will win a valuable prize. And let's go now. The sports figure I'm thinking of has many times been involved in tape measure home runs. His initials are M.M.
Braddock, the guy you're talking about's Mickey Mantle. He's been involved in tape measure home runs, okay? Send a valuable prize to Lou Cornshafter, care of B. Ragsdale, Pulver Heights, Maryland.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cornshafter, but there'll be no valuable prize for you. Mickey Mantle is not the correct answer.
Boy, what a con artist you are, Braddock. You can't stand it if someone guesses right, can you? You change the sports figure in midair if a guy guesses
It's
it,
a
don't
serious charge, Mr. Cornshafter. Ordinarily, I'd demand satisfaction from you, but it would involve an expensive trip to Maryland and a good deal of tedium once I got there.
Well, if it ain't Mickey Mantle, who is it? I mean, Braddock, who hits a ball that long that has to be measured?
The answer to that, Mr. Cornshafter, is in our underground vault, tucked away from prying eyes. And Mr. Menifee, our accountant, is standing guard over the vault, ledger book in hand, ready to do battle, flail away at intruders if need be.
Horse feathers, Braddock. You're a phony and you know it.
Thank you for the kind appellation, Mr. Cornshafter. Goodbye.
Baloney.
Now, the sports figure I'm thinking of, the one involved in tape measure home runs, was a boy who gained wind and endurance by running the tape measure from home plate to the deepest part of the bleachers. A sickly lad at first.
Oscar Levant.
No, sir.
Cheat.
A sickly lad at first.
I got your clue, Mr. Braddock. It's got to be Musial, Scarron, Hodges, Cepeda, Mickey Vernon, or any one of a bunch of other first basemen.
What makes you think our famous sports figure is a first baseman?
Well, I thought the key words, the clue, so to speak, were the words at first.
Well, I wouldn't say the first baseman you just mentioned were sickly. They all seem robust to me.
Well, Braddock, who made you a doctor? You got trouble enough lying on your program without getting into the field of medicine. I'll bet you don't even know the difference between measles and mumps.
Yes, I do. The difference is about 1.5 inches.
Very funny, Braddock. I'll take vanilla.
And this sickly lad grew up and became a champion swimmer who appeared in many Olympic contests. Later, he played the role of Tarzan in many movies. His first name is Johnny. His last initial is W.
This is Cornshafter from Maryland again. You got my address. Don't horse around, Braddock. The guy you're talking about's Johnny Wiseballer. Tarzan in the movie. Send a valuable prize.
Wrong again, Cornshafter. The figure I'm thinking of is Johnny Williams.
Braddock, this guy Johnny Williams, he never played Tarzan in the movies, did he?
Not that I know of, Cornshafter.
But you said he did.
I made a mistake.
I'll get you for this, Braddock. On a dark night, I'll get you.
And this is Johnny Braddock closing out another edition of Sportsaphone.
Nice going, Johnny.
It's a real pleasure to welcome back to our Bob and Ray CBS microphones the Interbureau Coordinator of Administrative Procedure for the Northeast
Just
State.
a second, Bob.
Yes.
Look, Hap, I don't think we're going to let you sit down. Will you use the stand-up mic, please? Because we don't want that chair moved again. Oh, he did it anyway.
He's already sitting down. The Coordinator of Interburo Administration, Mr. Clyde L. Hap-Wartney. Clyde, it's a pleasure to have you
Bob?
back here.
And Ray, I want to thank you and the Columbia
Running into a
Radio
great deal of difficulty.
Network
Hap,
for making
Hap,
available to me and
our
my
time
office
is running
free
short.
radio.
If you'd speak into this microphone, the stand-up mic.
Oh, boy.
Well, let him go anyway. Can you bring us up to date on your...
I want to thank you and the CBS Radio Network and all its affiliated stations for making available to me in my office this free radio time.
Well, now, you have been coordinating the administrative interbureau activity for the Northeast states now for several months and going into the fall fiscal. And I wonder if you could bring us up to date on what the field representatives have turned in the way of information.
I'm glad you asked me that question, Bob. They have turned in very important information that it will be up to my office now to collate and to put into graph form and to send it to the proper office
in Washington, D.C.
Just time for one more question, Ab. Have you discovered what the proper office is?
Proper office is
the address to send the information thus collated.
Thus collated.
Yes, Bob, we have finally found where that
Good.
goes.
We've heard from Clyde L. Hapwatney, Regional Interbureau Coordinator of Administrative Decisions for the Northeast States. We'll be looking forward to another report come next quarterly.
We'll have a preview of something Bob will say on tomorrow's show in 10 seconds. And now here's Bob with his preview.
We're a little late, so we got to say so long, folks.
Until tomorrow, this is Ray Goulding reminding you all to write if you get work.
Bob Elliott reminding you to hang by your thumb.
This is the CBS Radio Network.